So we talked a lot about how we're very disillusioned with the state of politics and the state of the government. What can we do moving forward to, get rid of that disillusionment?
Excuse me for 1 second, Alex. We're thinking if you hold the mic up more toward the top, put your hand up, more toward the top, that might make it,
Right here?
yeah.
All right. Oh, there's an antenna. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So how can we restore faith in our political system? Does anyone want to start?
I would kind of think about this. So what would you do if you could, if I could wave the magic wand and I could change things? And I got thinking, college students like movements. They like to start movements. They like to be involved. And so I was thinking, what would happen if at Ball State University, the college Democrats and the college Republicans came together and said, we're going to start a movement called something like, I support this ad. It's always Evan Bayh and I support this ad, or Bill Clinton and I support this. They always have the tagline there. So your tagline becomes, I support this ad. So what you do is you start analyzing the candidates, not so much on their issues, but it can become more of a positive, are they speaking positive messages? Are they very negative? And you start rating them on that, and you start supporting them, maybe not so much on their ideas. This is a little counterproductive, but what we're trying to do is get away from all the negative that's going on there. We've got to put supporting the negative. If the person that throws the most mud keeps winning, the mud's going to continue to be thrown out there. So the Republicans and the Democrats come together, and they start this movement that is, we're going to start looking at the campaigns. And maybe you just start on the local level. I don't know how you do it. And you start a movement to basically say we're not going. And there's always, there's a fine line between talking about things that your opponent does that are noteworthy and that are truthful, and just throwing a bunch of lies out there. And I think it's kind of hard to find that lies. But started analyzing the ads and said this candidate is becoming is less negative, that's the right term, than the one I don't know if that works or not. But at some point there has to be enough people have to stand up and say we've had enough before anything will change.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how we got to the point where we have the two candidates for president that we have. I don't have a clue. My wife and I talked about that until we're just tired of talking about it. Changing the political system, I guess my theory is sort of this at the national level. I don't think we've reached the bottom yet. And I think until we reach the bottom, we don't change much. I just think it's going to keep getting worse until we get to the bottom.
I think that there's a way to look at the history of the political parties, especially in the last 8 to 12 years, to provide some answers on how we ended up here. But I don't know that we'll ever all agree on exactly, how these fissions and these fractions came about. But I do think that there are ways for your voices to be heard. You could be on nonprofit boards that make a lot of decisions that affect your community. Christina Hale, who's running for lieutenant governor with John Gregg, has I don't know if it's a platform, but something that she's pretty passionate about, that she's working with women across the board in the state legislature called Bring a Girl, where women and young girls are coming to political events to learn about how to get more involved in government. So I think it's a long game for me, trying to restructure and re-educate the polis in a way that represents not only hopefully my political beliefs, but also what I value about rhetoric and political discourse.
I think after tomorrow, we need to remember that democracy doesn't end at the ballot box. And what I mean by that is that after we cast our vote, that doesn't mean our job as citizens is over once the presidential race is called, or any other race is called. I think going back to what the mayor said, start a movement. I remember at the State House, they gave out award to about 5 different legislatures there, and they were talking about how we need to do more to honor leaders who go above party line and actually work to become statesmen or stateswomen. I think we need to celebrate our democracy early on, even in elementary, middle, and high school. We need to really encourage students to participate in their class elections and really teach them civics. I wish, going back and looking back, that my school put more effort into really honoring the system, honoring the process, and teaching us as classmates how we can have meaningful discussions and disagree, but at the end of the day, we don't have to be at each other's throats. I think it starts very early on in schools, how we move forward from here.
Yeah, and I think an effect of disillusionment is often apathy, where we don't care about what's going on with the government, we just think it's all bad, so we don't want to participate. But going off of what Kristen said, I think it's extremely important to find those issues that we care about as almost like a gateway to getting involved with politics, and I think that can have a real effect on disillusionment. So starting at the college level, if you care about something, there are plenty of clubs, like Hold Action if you care about LGBT issues, or Spectrum. There are different clubs out there that cater to our interests and could serve as almost a gateway to either nonprofits or issues that we care about after we leave college.
I agree with like the things that people have said, and I think one of the big things about this particular election cycle that excited me was that people got involved and people were interested and talked about it. Like, granted, I was like a junior in high school, senior in high school when the last election happened, and I was in middle school for the one before that. But this was the most I had ever like talked about politics with my family, talked about it with my friends. We got really involved and people cared way more, I think, this year than they have ever before, as far as especially the younger generations go. So I think maintaining that amount of like caring about what happens and your involvement is really important going into, you know, the next few years and after tomorrow when everything's decided and we have a candidate or we have a new president.